Yummy, huh? I don't know why you had to pick the smallest chip. Are we sharing the chips? Huh? Are we sharing? Oops. Yeah, one at a time. Good job. Look at the smallest chip. Too much? Oh, Toodles! Spaghetti's ready. Yummy. Grab a diaper. Grab the wipes. Got the diaper, got the wipes. Come here. Right here. Right here. Over here. Not you, Kipper. Stay over here. Come on, buddy, I'm ready. Come here, I'm ready. Come here. Come here, bud. Stay, come here for real. Look how many people over there. Kipper, you want a treat? Kipper. Kipper, you want a treat? Hey. Oh, you look so sad. Come here. You're a good boy. Did you get a haircut? Did you get a haircut? Yeah, you got a haircut.
Hello, anybody there? Testing 1, 2, 3. Just the mic. Yep, so I don't know what to do about that new microphone. It's wireless, but it's picking up all the shop sounds really well. Like you'll hear me drop something and it'll scare the crap out of me. But then my volume of my voice is so low, I don't know how to fix it. I'm not a microphone expert, so I may just have to dub over this whole thing. I was trying to just show you how it can easily be done. A workbench can be built within 2 hours, but I'll probably just do my usual speed up and slow down and talk when I need to talk thing for now. Alright, let me just see if this worked and I will get back with you guys. Alrighty then, on this next part, guys, I'm complaining about the tape on the box. I think I'm pointing out that the, I forgot who sent it to me. I knew it was through Amazon, but whoever packaged the box didn't do a very good job. It was already coming open. They need to use a whole lot more tape, I think I was trying to tell you. And now I'm excited about getting more liquid nails. You know how I love that glue gun. And yes, I got a whole bunch more torque screws, and I believe I got 3 different sizes. Actually, I think I have a total of 5 different sizes now. I have 2.5 inches, 3 inches, which is the ones I'm showing to you right now. Those are 3 inches. Compared to a little bit bigger than the 2.5 inches. And I'm trying to explain to you right now, I think that the braces in the rafters, I'm going to use the longer torque screws to secure those better. And these other torque screws here are more of the 1.25 inch. Pretty sure they're 1.25 inch. They're not 1.1 inch because those are really small ones. The 1.1 inch ones tend to spin when you use it in the plywood, so that's why I went ahead and got these 1.5 inch. I believe they're 1.5 inch, 1.25 inch maybe, somewhere between there, maybe 1 3/8, somewhere along the, somewhere in that range are the ones I need to use for the plywood so they don't spin. This next part here, I'm simply explaining to you that I need to clear off the what are those things called? Sawhorses. Because I'm actually going to use that OSB sheet. I'm going to cut it down the middle, so you have basically, it'll be what, 2 feet by 8 feet, and that'll be the top and the bottom shelves of the workbench / scaffolding. So I need to clear off everything out of the way so I can get to it and use it. And that's what I'm just rambling on about. You know me, I just talk to myself. Got no one else to talk to. Ooh, careful with that. That's that Max fan that I love so much. Alright, these are the corner pieces, and you can see that obviously there's 4 corners, there's 4 of them. I didn't take out all 4 of them out of the box, just took out the 3. They are made of very dense plastic and very strong, and they can support up to I believe it's 1,000 pounds. Included with this workbench set are a set of shelves, and you use the same 2x4 material to build these shelves, and you can make them any size you want. But as you can see in the picture, they make them so they fit right over the top of the workbench. Now, I'm going to be building that set of shelves in this video. I will do that in the next video, and I'm not sure if I'm going to turn that into a DIY project or not, because the reason why is, even though I'm making it the same size as this workbench, I'm going to actually use it as scaffolding for the other side of the camper. I'll explain more of that later. As you guys can see, I'm using my world famous chalk line that I always use. I've used it this whole camper project. Anyways, I've marked out 2 feet. You guys noticed, but I took my glove off to pop that chalk line. I've tried to do it with the glove on before, and I usually end up just making a mess. So I've found it always easier to take your glove off before you pop that chalk line. If you remember, I went ahead and screwed these OSB boards down to the 2x3s to make it more stable when we were staining and working over there. Now I'm actually going to use the OSB for the top shelf and the bottom shelf of the workbench, so nothing gets wasted. I love it. I'm going to reuse materials that normally would get tossed after a job's done, because both the both OSB pieces that I use are, they're covered in stain, and they got dings and nicks in them and drill holes and things like that. So, but there's nothing wrong with using them for a workbench that's going to get dinged up and messed up anyways. More stain will probably get on it as well. So I love repurposing wood and reusing wood that normally would get tossed. As I go back and forth to the chop saw, let me fill you in on what's going on. It's real simple. The table top and the shelf for the workbench are made out of 2x4s and the OSB board. So you have two 8-foot pieces that match up perfectly, the 8-foot piece of OSB, and then all you have to do is simply measure between the two, and I just took them over to the saw. Oh, I'm going to show you right now. Took them over to the saw and lined them up and used one as a template. Make sure that fingers are out of the way and making sure that the button wasn't, the trigger wasn't squeezed, and then just cutting them. Watch, I'm going to use that as a template again. Make sure everything's flush. Finger off the trigger. Push the board right up against the saw. Remember that the teeth are wider than the saw blade, so you have to count for that. Now I know I turned the camera away so you can't see it, but I went ahead and cut the other pieces for the shelf as well. So all, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 5. So I cut 10 sections for the insides, so that way it's all done at one time. You don't have to go back and forth to the saw. It's done. Now I'm measuring from the end, 2 feet, 4 feet, 6 feet. So there'll be a 2-foot gap between each 2x4, and I use a speed square to make sure that all the boards are lined up. And then, because I'm going to use a drill to do pilot holes, so I do a line for that as well. I know it's a little overboard, but I tend to be that way. I tend to, use a level and use a speed square when you don't have to, but I just want to make sure that things are accurate and they look nice. I want things to look square and uniform. If you look down the length of the 2x4, you can see that it's got a crazy warp in it. So how do we get those out? I've shown you this before in my videos. All you do is take your wood clamp and pinch the wood, and then you saw me use the hammer to knock everything so that it's flush and even. And I already drilled my holes, so now I just gotta put the screws in, and there you go. You take the clamp off, you're all done. Too easy, right? Yeah, I'm using those 1 3/8", I believe, torque screws. They're holding it just fine, snagging it really good and holding it tight. And what I was trying to point out was I started on one end in the corner, and then I moved to the opposite corner diagonally across. and make sure that's flush. And then I go to the other corner and then again move to the opposite corner as well. That way you can, you got right angles on your plywood or your OSB. You can just move your frame to fit that, and that'll be square. That's one of the easier ways, I think, to make it so that it's even and square. Now you can see what I'm doing is I'm using the framing square to draw a straight line for where the studs are. Excuse me, my cat's on my lap and trying to get in my face right now. That's what the purring is. Yeah, so then I can put all my screws in a straight line and you know right where they go because I drew a line. You're killing me, cat. You're killing me. Back up, bro. I'm gonna flip this tabletop over and attach the legs, so this will actually be the bottom shelf. It's easier to do this way. I've done it a couple different ways in the past. Like I told you, I've made like 6 or 7 of these things. Learned it the hard way, different ways to do it. This is the easier way to do it. Start from the bottom, work your way up. And all you do is flip the corners over and attach them. There's, I believe, 4 screws total, maybe 6, and they're angled, and you just follow the pattern. I think I use 2.5-inch screws on the top and bottom of the legs of the corner posts. And then when you're done, you just simply flip it over and get ready to do the top one. I'm gonna do the top tabletop or shelf, whatever you want to call it. I'm gonna do the exact same way. The 8-foot boards, the long ones, the length ones are already pre-cut, pre-measured because it came from the store that way. I'm just gonna mark right now. I'm gonna mark 2 foot force, 2, 4, and 6 foot marks, and I'll use my speed square to line up where the studs are gonna go. Remember, and I already cut the inner studs earlier. So making everything easier. You see me checking to make sure everything's flush all the time. And put lines on the outside as well so you know where to put your screws and where to drill your pilot holes. And that's what I'm doing now, drilling the pilot holes. Oh, I'm supposed to be recording right now. I was waiting for the tape measure. There's the tape measure out. So I'm going to go ahead and mark where my screws are going. It makes it a lot easier. I believe I put them every, 6 to 8 inches. You can do whatever you want, but that's the way I did it. Just takes less time, and they're all uniform. Know right where to pop the screw in with the screw gun. Now ideally you're supposed to just lift the tabletop over and put it on top of the four corners, and it's supposed to slide right in. What happened was there's actually a piece of the injection molding sticking out in the way. I ended up having to get a chisel, and because it's really thick, you can't just cut. I even tried cutting with a knife, it didn't work. I got a chisel and just hammered it out of there, and then as soon as I got it out of there, it'll pop right down. Watch. There it goes. And done. And it's done. Now there's, I believe, 6 screws on each corner for the top, and you can see they're kind of angled. They hold it really tightly in place. That thing is solid as a rock when it's done. Really happy with these things. They're great benches, not too bad for price, and really easy to make.
Guys, real quick, I need to go in and take a break. I gotta move around all these obstacles here. So this was the old sawhorse system. I use zip ties because you couldn't screw into the plastic because the plastic would break. So it wasn't stable enough for a scaffolding. So I built these workbenches before, and you saw in the video that how to do it. It's really easy. It takes less than 2 hours to do it. But from what I remember, and I'll look it up, but for now I'm going to say that I recall the advertisement, and I've built like 6 of these things. I need to build them and sell them. You can make them any size you want. It's all by 2x4s, and then you can use OSB, you can use plywood for the top, and actually there's a place here for a middle shelf. And the one I have, and a couple I have in storage, have middle shelves on them. But this is going to be used as scaffolding first. So I kept it 8 foot long, 2x4s, 2x4 braces in between every 2 feet. So it should be strong enough. It said 800 pounds to 1,000 pounds, so it definitely can hold up 2 people. But knock that out real quick. Just under 2 hours, just over 2 hours, something like that. And I've got these other braces in here that I'm going to use simple scaffolding for the other side. So yeah, I mean, if I could afford another bench like this, I would. The set costs about $80, so not too cheap. And then of course you got to buy the wood as well. But yeah, I think the scaffolding will be great. The floor is not even, so I'm gonna have to go ahead and see that. I'm gonna have to put some shims under there because that's where the drainage is right there. So of course the floor is not even, level rather. All right, guys, that's it for today. Actually, that's it for just now. Last night it warmed up to crazy warm. Got to 47 degrees at night. So I'm wondering if it's gonna do the same thing tonight. For now, I need the heating pad because I'm hurting really bad from not building. All right, guys, I will talk to you later. Have a good night. Be good to each other, don't forget. Love y'all. Bye. There's Teddy. What's the cow say?